is equal to 10 for I in range of, I am going to start, for example, I am going to write like this. For loop, it is going to be right, we can write in three different types of manners. I am going to write the first one and the basic one. If I am going to take here it as a range of n, I am going to take it as for I in a range of n, then how the range function is going to be work? The range function is going to be work with one value inside it, or two values inside it, or three values inside it. Okay, three different manners. First of all, but here I am working with only single value, right? If it is a single value, every time it has only three values, but we are passing only single value. What it means? If I am passing in the range function, I am passing only single value, it will take 0 as the first value. Every time there are three values in the for loop, no doubt. First value is 0 and the second value is n, and this is 1. What is 0? 0 is initial value. 0 is initial value. That means first of all I becomes 0. Then what is n? N is final value. N is final value, and 1 is step count. That means I plus plus. I am going to step every time only one value, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, like that. For example, if I am going to place by 2, it is going to be 0 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2, like that. By defaultly, if I am passing only single value, what is that single value? If I am passing single value, what is that? Students, if I am passing in a range function only single value, what it is?
Final value is
Initial value is 0 and step increment is 1.
1.
And up to n the loop
Up to
continues.
n it is going to be right. But here it is going to be working with less than symbol. Why? Because if it is a positive one, is it positive one or not? Is it negative or positive value? 1 is positive, right? If it is a positive, the relation between initial value and the final value is the less than. 0 is less than n. Is it true or not? Is it true or not, students?
True, sir.
True. Then
Yes,
only
sir.
it will be. There is no is equal to here. Okay, there is no equal to here. That's why it is going to be printed. For example, it is going to be printed up to 9 only. There is no 10. Why? Because here it is dealing with less than symbol only. For example, if you want that 10 value also, then we have to write here n plus 1. N plus 1 means that is 11. It is going to be n is replaced with 11. 0 is less than 11. True. 1 is less than, 2 is less than, 10 is less than 11. Yes. Like that it is going to be printed up to 10 here. Is it clear, everyone? For example, I am passing two values. I am passing here two values. Two values means the first initial value is going to be 1 here. There are two values, right? And the default increment size is going to be 1, and it is going to be treated with like this. First value is initial value, n plus 1 is the last value, and default increment and step count is 1. Yes, 1 is positive, right? Yes, 1 is positive value, then it is going to be treated with a less than symbol. Okay, then now instead of printing starting from 0, I'm replacing the starting value, initial value, with 1 here. If I'm going to execute it, there is no 0 here. It is going to be print from 1 to 10. Okay, everyone. Now I am going to pass with three values. I am going to pass with three values. That means this is the initial value, this is the final value, and this is the increment or decrement count. For example, if I execute this one, the old output only, right? The default value of in step count is 1. If I am replaced with 2, for example, I am going to replace with 2. If I am going to execute it, just look at it. 1 plus 3 is going to be 3. 3 plus 2 is going to be 5. 5 plus 7. 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. It is going to be incremented like this. Is it clear, everyone? How the for loop is going to be working? And the
Yes,
next one
sir.
is, for example, I is equal to some I plus 3. Going to replace here. There is no step count here. Can anyone guess what is the output now? Students.
1 to 10 వరకు వస్తాయి సార్ అన్ని నెంబర్స్.
1 to 10, sir.
It is going to be print up to 1 to 10, no doubt about that. Why? Because if I am going to modify the I value, if I am going to modify the I value in the function, it is going to be reflected up to this one only. For example, if I place it here, now what is the output here? What is the output? Students.
4 to 14.
4 to
4 to 14 sir. 14 sir.
4 to 13. 10 plus 3. Last value is 10. 10 plus 3. Here 1. 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. Like that, 10 plus 3 is equal to 13. There is no 14 at all.
Okay
Yes?
sir.
Is it okay? If I am going to modify I value, it is going to be that modified I value is only up to this for loop only. If it is going to the condition again, it is going to be replaced with what is next value. Previous I value is 1. What is next value? Then it is going to be replaced with 2 again. If 2 is modified with 5 here and 5 is printed, then again it is going to be the condition, and what is next value? That is going to be 3. Like that it is working. If you in C language, it is not working like this. If you modify I value here, it is reflected back to the this one also, but here it is not working like that. Okay, that is the only change here. For example, I am going to write this program is going to be print from 1 to 10, right? Just write the program up to 1, 10 to 1. Just and everyone write it down and post in the group once. I want the output as a 10 to 1. Students, note down on the notebook, write the code on the notebook and take a pic and send me in WhatsApp. Good. Any other students? Do it fast. 1, 2, 3 members only. I'm going to write here. I'm going to start at 10. That means I'm going to start at 10. That means n. Where I have to stop? I have to stop at 1. But if I, for example, I'm going to take like this. I'm going to take like this. If I'm going to execute it, just look at the output. What is this? I forget in the range for I in ing. Is there any output here? There is no output. Why? Because here it is going to be taken as 3 values. First one is the 10, the second one is 1, and the step count is 1. The step count is going to be 1. If it is if the increment and decrement is positive, then always it is going to be treated as a less than symbol. It is going to be checked that is the 10 is less than 1. It is treated like that. If it is a positive value, then it is to be less than. 10 is less than 1. That is false. Then it is coming out of the loop. Instead of that one, that means I am at step 10. I am going down here, right? I am going down. Then only I will reach 1 here. That's why I am going to change with the step count with -1. I am going to step count with -1. If I am going to step -1, it is going to be treated as greater than symbol. Is 10 is greater than 1? Yes. Is 10 is greater than 1. If I am going to execute it, just look at here. At what position? But it is going to be break here. If I is 1, 1 is greater than 1. It is checking that is 1 is greater than 1. No, it is false. That's why 1 is not printed here. But I want 1 also. That's why I'm going to take 0 here. Then if I'm going to execute it, it is going to be working from 10 to 1 here. Okay, this is about for loop. While loop is very easy. While I is equal to It is very, the syntax is very similar to the C while loop. I is less than equal to n like this, and I'm going to print it. The syntax are very simple, but using of when we got any problem, we have to use which loop we have to use, for loop or while loop. In that, is there any if conditions are there, that we have to think at the time. When you are reading, when you are studying anything about if and else and while or for loop break, that is very simple. Yes. But when we are going to apply that one, that is very difficult. I am going to write I plus is equal to 1. This is the shorthand form. I plus is equal to 1. That means I is equal to I plus 1. For example, if I am going to execute it, it is going to be print like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it, nothing else. This is going to be very simple here. I am going to initialize with I is equal to 1. I am checking that I less than equal to n, print of I and I plus plus. That is I plus 1 is I plus is equal to 1. Simple loop. Write down the reverse loop for this one also. That means the printing of it is going to be printing like this, right? 1 to 10. The same program, just write it down for up to 10 to 1. 10 to 1. Just try for that in the reverse manner, students. N value is 10 only. N value is 10 only. Don't change the n value to 1 or not like that. Just maintain n value 10, then write it again. Okay, good. We can write in n number of ways, no problem for that. There is no need of I also, we can write while n int of n n minus is equal to 1 is going to be printing like this 10 to 9, 10 to 1, sorry. In any programming language, positive number or negative number, any value is treated as a true here. Any positive value or negative value, any number, only 0 represents a false. Okay, only 0 represents false. Any number other than 0 is going to be represented true value. That's why here I am taking as while n here. While n means while 10. Is 10 is true or not? Yes, it is true. Then it is coming inside the loop and it is going to be print 10 and n becomes 9. And again checking with while 9 is while 9, that is going to be true again, right? Then it is going to be printed like this up to 1. 1 is going to be printed and 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is going to be 0, right? Then while 0 becomes false, then it is coming outside the loop. That's it. Yes, good. Yes, then we are going to working with some break and continue. Break and continue. What is the use of break and continue? When we are dealing with break and continue syntax wise, we learn only little bit. Okay, when I am teaching also, I will be teach like this. It is going to be break. It is going to be break. That's it. But when you are dealing with programs, then only it will be useful for you. The real concept of break. But here I am going to tell you how break is going to be working here. That's it. Nothing else. But I will show you what is the use of break when we are dealing with programs. For example, I'm going to write this one. Break is an unconditional control. Break and continue is also, there is no condition at all. Just look at when we are dealing with for loop or while loop, it is going to be check every time. Is it true? Then only it will be work. If it is false, it is not working, right? That means it is going to be checking every time. If and else also, if it is true, it is going to be check every time. Some condition is going to be checked. But in break and continue, it is not checking any condition. If break is raised, the control reaches the break, then what happens next? The control reaches break, then it is automatically terminated the loop. Then it is coming outside the loop. Outside the loop it is coming. Immediately. If the break is raised, immediately the control is moving out of the loop. Now, what is the output here? Students?
10, sir.
10, that's it. Nothing else. If I'm going to execute it 10, then break is raised, then coming out of the loop. That's it. Coming out of the loop. Then what is the use of break here? Not here. For example, if I'm going to search one student in a bulk number of, for example, 1,000 students are there in my Excel. I'm going to find one roll number. I'm searching one by one. I'm searching. For example, in 1,000 number of students, I found at 10th position. The roll number is found at 10th position. There is no need to check remaining 990, right? There is no need to check remaining 990. At that time I am going to use this type of breaks. Yes, I am going to use at the time of break. Yes, search is found, right? Search is found. I am coming here. I am coming out of the loop. That's it. There is no need to search for remaining 990. At the time I am going to use that break. But here, in any loop, we can write break and continue in for loop or while loop, no doubt. But don't use break and continue normally. Every time we have to use break or continue inside a condition every time. For example, I'm going to write here if n mod 3 is equal to 0. I'm writing some condition here. I'm writing some condition here. Every time when we are dealing with break and continue, don't write normally. We have to put inside any condition like this. If n mod 3 is equal to 0, then only I have to break it. Then what is the output at this position? First of all, I am going to trace it manually. Just look at here. What is n value? N value is 10. N value is 10. That means output is going to be printed at 10 here. Then coming to this position. 10 mod 3 is equal to 0 question mark. Is it true? Students, is it true? Is 10 is exactly divisible by 3?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, then
No,
break
sir.
is not
No.
executed. Then break is not executed and it becomes a 9. Okay, then n becomes a 9 here. While 9, that is going to be true. Then coming here, 9 is printed and coming this position, 9 is divisible by 3. Is it true or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly
sir.
divisible it is. Then only break is going to be executed. Then coming out of the loop, then the output is going to be 10 and a 9. That's it. This is the break. This is the use of break here. The next one is continue. Continue means when we are going to use continue, we are going to skip some students, some type of students, for example. Some campus drives are going to be conducting in our campus, right? In that, there are total 10,000 students are there, first year, second year, third year, final year, and different branches also. But one company is coming, for example, TCS, for example. They are conducting the exam for only 2021 pass outs. That means some filter is there, right? Some filter is there. That means remaining all the students are going to be skipped here. Then in that 2021 also they are going to be conducted only for CSC, EC and IT, for example. And remaining branch students also skipped here. And again they are going to be giving some condition. What is that? The percentage is greater than or equal to 65 only they are going to be conducted. This is also one condition again. And one more condition, that is that, what is that? For example, we are conducting some practical exams in the some reasoning and arithmetic test is there. In that exam, there are if you attempt only 2 tests, attempts more than 2 tests, then only you are eligible to write the test, write the TCS. Like that, we are going to skip some number of students. At the time I am going to use here continue. That means I'm not considering that type of students. I am not considering that type of students here. Here, what type of students I am not considering here? I am not considering here. Here I am not considering the numbers which are exactly divisible by 3. Okay, that means 9, 6, 3 like that. Then the numbers which are not divisible, which are divisible by which are divisible by 3, I am not considering that one. That means when the control reaches the continue, what it happens? It happens, that means it is going back to the main function again. It is going back to the main function. It never executes the remaining lines. For example, if I am going to execute it, just wait. I'm going to write like this. If I am going to execute it, just look at here. 9 is not there, 6 is not there, 3 is not there. This type of numbers are going to be skipped. Yes. How I am going to write here? I am going to write like this. I want this type of condition at this time. I want like this. The three multiples are not going to be displayed on the screen. I am going to skip that numbers. That's why I am writing like this. This is the use of continue here. You want to skip some number of students, you have to write that continue. Just note it down. If continue is right, the control is moving back to, if the control is right, the control moving back to this one, this line, while of n again. Okay, is it here? This is the brief intro about if, else, while loop and for loop, break and continue. I will show you one more thing that is also used in that is else block. Heading high like this. Else for loops. We can write else for while loop and else for loop also. If I am going to execute it, the high is going to be printed. The high is printed. Then what is the use of else here? For example, there is no else. For example, there is no else. If I am going to execute it, the same output, right? The same previous output. Then what is the use of else here? That is, what is the use of else? When we are writing a program, a loop, when we are writing a loop, there are two different types of breaking of the loop. There are two different types of breaking of the loop. For example, this loop is going to be terminated based on this condition, based on the while condition, right? While some condition is there. If the loop is going to be break based on that condition, what I am highlighting here, just look at. Based on this condition, that is called natural breaking. That is called natural breaking. For example, I am going to write here like this break. For example, if it is going to be break using break statement, this is called manual breaking. That means user defined breaking. Then the program, when the loop is going to be breaked with terminated with manual breaking, this else block is never executed. If the loop is going to be executed manually, not manually, what is that? Naturally, if the loop is going to be terminated naturally, then only else block is executed. For example, if I'm going to execute it, the else is not the else part is not executed. Why? Because it is going to be breaked by using of this break statement. For example, if I remove this one, if I'm going to execute it, high is going to be printed. Why? Because the loop is rotated all the rotations. It is going to be breaked by using this condition. That's why the else part is going to be executed. Just remember this point. This else is going to be executed and it is very useful to our, okay, when we are writing program, it is very useful. We can write this else part for loop also. Okay. Is it clear everyone up to the intro about if, else if, while, for, break, continue, else for loops, I think. Is it clear everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so
If you have any doubts, students, nearly 30 members are there, I think. 30 members. Yes, I'm going to delete this one. Then I'm going to give some intro about functions also today. How we are going to write, for example, I'm going to take some n is equal to some 10. I'm going to write some function of n like this. When you are dealing with functions, this is going to be a function call. This is going to be a function call. When you look at a function call, we have to observe some points. Every time when you look at functions, we have to observe some points. What is that? The first point is going to be name of the function. What is the name of the function? The name of the function is going to be fun. This is the name of the function. Okay. And how many arguments I am passing? Arguments. How many arguments I am passing? Here I am passing how many arguments here? How many arguments I am passing? Only one argument.
One.
We have one argument. And return type is the return. Is the function is returning any values or not? Is the function is returning any values or not? If you observe this one, there is no return type. How I am going to tell? For example, if it is going to be assigned to any value, or if it is written inside any if condition, okay, or any while condition, any conditions. For example, I am going to write any conditions or any print statements. All these four different types, that means the function has a written value, no doubt about that. That means it is going to be assigned with any value. It is treated as a condition for if or while or for, or we are going to print some value like this, print of fun of n. All these times the function has a written value. When the function does not return any value, it is going to be like this. At this position only the function has no return type, no return value, not return type. The function has no return value. Is it clear everyone? Some students are thinking that if I am writing like this, print fun of n, is there any return type? I am asking every time, but some students are telling that there is no return type, sir. No, yes, it is going to be print something, right? It is going to print something means it has a return type. Yes, this and this and this and this, all these function calls are with the return value. Only this one is not a return type, not a return value. Okay, is it clear everyone? This is going to be function call. This is going to be function call. Oh, this is function call. And one more, two parts are there. One is function call and the second one is function definition. We have to write with the definition keyword. Def is the keyword here, and we have to write what is the name of the function. I'm going to write this function. Why I'm writing fun? That is not a keyword. Here I'm mentioning that fun, right? That's why I'm writing here fun of n. How many arguments I'm passing? Here I'm passing one argument. That's why I'm going to take here only one argument. If here it is the two arguments, I'm going to take with the two arguments. Okay, no problem for that. And I have to write column and enter. That means what I'm writing inside this block, all the statements are belong to that function definition. Okay, what I'm writing this content that is belong to this function definition. Now I'm going to print some n. That's it. I'm reading the value. I'm reading the value. I'm calling the function, and the control is moving into function definition. And what I'm doing some operation of the function. If I'm going to execute it, the 10 is going to be printed using function call. Okay, but this is sorry, for example, this is some function, very basic, right? This is function call. Every time the functional definition is going to be placed before the main function. Where is main function? This is main function. This is the main program. Okay, this is the main program. Every time when you are dealing with functions, we have to write before the main function, before the main function only. Okay, any functions, any n number of functions, we have to write like here only. I'm going to execute, the high is not printed. Why high is not printed? I'm not calling that function. I'm not calling the function, right? That's why it is not printing here. For example, if I'm writing with fun2, is there any function 2 in the function definitions here? There is no function. No, right? For example, if I'm going to execute it, what is the error here? Just note down this type of errors also we have to remember. Why? Because Python is a powerful language. It is going to give what type of error it is. We can easily rectify that type of errors. It is mentioning that yes, name fun2 is not defined. It is giving very clearly. And what is the type of the name error? That is a name error. Why? Because fun2 is a name of the function that is not found in the function, not found in the program. That's why it is giving a name error. Name fun2 is not defined very clearly. Then easily we can easily, where is fun2? I can found it easily and I have to modify it very easily. It's working very easy. Yes. If you call that function, then only it will be work. This is a functions, and this is only function without return value. For example, I'm going to write some value is equal to val we have to use some return keyword, some n plus 10. What I'm returning here? I'm returning, for example, I'm passing 10 here. I'm passing 10. I'm returning the value as a 10 plus 10. N value is the 10, then 10 plus 10. What I'm going to return, that is going to be catched with this value. This function is returning some value, right? This function is returning some value. That means the fun of n is going to be replaced with 20. Then value becomes 20 here. Okay, is it clear? Then I'm going to print. Yes, look at here. It is going to be print. Just wait. It is going to be printed 20 like this. In this way, we are going to return the values. This is going to be return the values like this. This is a function definition with return value and without return value. We have to every time in our functions, every time we are dealing with arguments. I'm passing some arguments here. I'm passing some arguments, and the function is going to be return some value every time. I'm dealing with this type of programs only, with arguments, with return type only. I'm handling every time. This is the main important function type here. I'm passing one values, I'm passing some values, I'm returning some value. Okay. Okay, students.
Yes, sir.
Anything is basic here? Okay, I'm going to explain some program here, very simple basic program, but I want to cover all the concepts, if, else, if, and I think I'm going to cover all the concepts. For example, num is equal to int of input of what is my program. First of all, I'm going to read a number. I'm going to find is it even or odd. If it is even, I'm going to reverse it. If it is odd, I'm going to add sum of all digits, Okay, this is my concept here. Okay, if the number is even, I'm going to reverse the number. If the number is odd, I'm going to call another function, that is sum of all the digits. I'm going to find is a number is even. That means if it is divisible by 2, that is called even number. What is pass means? Pass means nothing. Pass means we are not developed any functionality in the block. Okay, pass is that's it, nothing else. Pass means the block of statements are not yet started, that's it, nothing else. Instead of a pass, I'm going to develop one code. What I'm going to write here, if it is even, I'm going to reverse the number, right? Reverse the number. That means reverse some number is equal to, I am going to call one function reverse of num. Okay, if it is odd, sum of some digits, I'm writing like this, and I am coming out of the function and I'm going to print num. Just look at here. This is the program, very simple program what I'm writing here. I'm reading the input, and I'm going to check is the input is even or odd. If it is even, I'm going to reverse the number. If it is odd, I am going to sum of the digits and I am going to print the what is the result of this one. Okay, what is the result of this one? That means this is one function call, and this is going to be another function call. Not predefined functions, right? We have to define it. These are user defined functions. We have to define it by own hands. Okay, what is the first function name? Reverse. And how many arguments I am passing here? Every time ask yourself
One.
only. One argument, is the function has the written value or not?
Yes, sir.
I am going to write the function definitions. Def some digits going to be pass. Pass means I am not a developer. This is main program. Okay, this is the main program. Main program is finished. Nothing else. Nothing. There is no need to develop anything in the main program. This is just look at here. It is looking like some algorithm. That's it. Nothing else. I'm reading the input. I'm checking is the number is even or odd. If it is even, I'm going to call another function. If it is odd, I'm going to call another function. That's it. I'm going to print the result what it is. It is when you look at the main program, it is an algorithm. It is simply an algorithm. But the logic we have to develop in the function definitions every time. If it is going to be reverse, I think everyone knows how to write the reverse functionality. I will explain it again. Reverse means I'm going to take one rev is equal to 0. Rev is equal to 0 here. I'm going to take example, the number is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take some REV is equal to 0. This is num. Some R is equal to num mod 10. For example, n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Num mod 10. Num mod 10 means, that means this, what is the remainder when you are dealing with a 10? For example, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is going to be 123. If it is a 10, 123 is going to be 1230. And what is the remainder here? The remainder is going to be 4 here. Yes, this is the remainder operator. Okay, modulus is remainder operator. Then if I am going to work with this, it is going to be remainder operator. Just look at here. This is one value and this is one value. 123 and 4. It is going to be divided. The number is going to be divided into two parts. 123 and 4. For example, number n is equal to n by 10. Just look at this one. For example, there are two numbers are there, 4 and 3. 4 plus 3 is equal to 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. It's the same question I am going to ask a small kid. The same question I am going to ask a small kid. The answer is going to be different. That is going to be 43. Is it true or not? Yes. Is there any possible that 4 plus 3 is equal to 43? Instead of 7, I am going to find that is there any other way to find 4 plus 3 is equal to 43? Students. Four plus 3 is equal to 7, right? I am going to convert 4 plus 3 is equal to 43.
Append.
No. The two numbers are there. Two numbers, 4 and 3. Four and 3 is going to be 43. 4 into 10 plus 3. What is that? 43, right?
Yes.
4 into 10 plus 3 is going to be 43. For example, now my number is 43. Another one, 43 plus 1. 43 plus 1. I am going to convert a 431. How?
430 plus 1.
Yes, 43 into 10 plus 1, right? That is
Yes,
going to be
sir.
converted
Yes,
to
sir.
431. The same way we are going to deal with this program also. I am initially taking as reverse is equal to 0 here first of all. And I am going to write some while n r is equal to n mod 10, n is equal to n by 10. By 10. I am going to print first of all how it is going to be print r comma n is r value and n value. Going to give some even number, then how it will work. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. N, that is not n, right? That is no. I'm going to modify here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just look at here. The number is going to be divided into 4 and 123. Then 123 becomes 3 and 12. Then 12 becomes 2 and 1. Then 1 becomes 1 and 0 here. Just forget about this none value. Okay. Is it clear, everyone? Just look at these values. Just look at this side, left hand side values. 4, 3, 2 and 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. These are the each and individual digits of this number. Just look at what is that value. What is the left side value here? What is that? R. R is the value of every digit. Every digit. First time it is going to be the last value, then 3, 2, 1 and like this. This is going to be, there is no need to check what is n value here. If n value is 0, that means the loop is going to be terminated. That's it. I am going to turn the loop up to when n becomes 0 only. Then what I have to do, REV is equal to REV into 10 plus R. What I am doing? First of all, R value becomes 4. If n is 1234, R becomes 4 and n becomes 123. Okay. Then what is REV value initially? What is REV value initially? Students.
0.
0.
0 into 10. 0 into 10. 0 into 10. 0
0.
plus R. That is going to be 4. Then REV
REV
becomes 4 here. REV becomes 4. Then what is the new n value? New n value becomes
120.
123. Then R becomes 3. Then n becomes 12. Then coming here, now REV into 10. 4 into 10 now. 4 into 10 means
40.
40 plus 3. That is going to be 43. Then it is going to be treated with 12. Then R becomes 2 and n becomes 1. Then now 43 into 10, it is going to be 430 plus 2. It is going to be 432. Then while 1 it is, R becomes 1, n becomes 0. Then it is going to be into 10 plus 1. That is going to be like this. Then what is n value? N value is 0. That is the end of the loop. Then it is coming here and I am going to return REV. Then I am going to return REV. That's it, nothing else. The same logic I am going to develop for the sum of numbers also, sum of digits also. The same thing, there is no need to into 10. That's it. There is no need to into 10. That's it. I am going to execute it. If it is like this, the output is 4321. If I am going to execute it, this is the odd number, right? This is an odd number. Then the output is going to be, just wait. I am going to give here n. Writing the logic on n. 1, 2, 4, 3. The output is going to be 10. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. Like this. We are going to write the logic like this. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, now I am going to give a very small task to you for tomorrow. What is that? I am writing here the logic using some function, right? Reverse of function, and here I am writing sum of digits function. Just read about what is the recursion. Okay, read about study about something about recursion and try to implement try to implement these two functionalities using recursion. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Using recursion, you have to develop the same logic. Recursion means calling the function itself, right? That's it, I think. Try to implement that logic. The same logic using recursion methodology. Method is different, that's it. Programming is same. Yes, I'm going to stop here. Okay, students, just practice more. Just do that program in recursion. Try first of all. Same program using recursion. That's it. Bye. Oh, just wait. Don't go. Sureshwar will be take the class. Continue the class. Okay, I'm leaving. Just you wait some time. Sureshwar will be come. Okay. Bye, students.
Bye.